Introducing Professor Prashant Kumar De. He is an excellent researcher, excellent speaker, excellent teacher. Both of us are working together on number of international research projects from, for the last 16 or 17 years, possibly from 2007. And we worked at least in 10 to 11 international research projects, like UKRI, then DST, then this Going Global, Global Fund, so many. So now I request him to talk on the circular economy, and he will speak a part on the calculation of the carbon footprints and other related issues. Also, the case study with respect to the SMEs concerned. He is a professor in operations management in Aston Business School in Aston University, Birmingham. Okay. We had the session last week in UK. He coordinated that part, and it was excellent. Now I'll not take much time, so during his presentation you will get his introduction also. Okay, over to Prashanta.
Thank you very much. I hope that you can hear me well. Okay, yeah. I can see you. I think what I've seen that while I start sharing my screen, I won't be able to see you because now I cannot see my screen. I think you can see. Is it possible that I can get a very quick introduction from you? Is it possible, or it would be difficult because of audio?
No, Prashanto, I think there is a network issue. So in that way, first you finish the lecture. Then if we have time, then there can be an introduction. So they are mainly the research scholars. Okay. Who are the PhD research scholars? Please raise your hand so that he can have an idea. Prashant, the research scholars, they are all research scholars from SVU University, Jadavpur University, and KJ Somaiya. And who are the master's degree students? They are the master's degree student in KJ Somaiya, Presidency Chennai, and Gita. And who are from SMEs? Yeah, they are the SMEs. All right.
Okay.
And Mr. Parlikar is there on the left side, and Dr. Raich is there on the right. So these two gentlemen are embracing all these guys so that they are under control. So now over to you.
Okay. So thank you very much, Professor Ghosh, for the introduction. And thank you very much for having me here. And it's a pleasure to be communicating with you. And I know that you have taken a lot of pain for coming from all the way from various places. And you are trying your best to absorb or grasp the things that we are discussing on. We are trying to really address an issue which is very daunting, which is present everywhere, whether it is emerging economy, developed economy, island nations, or a desert. Everywhere this problem is there. We require to deal with it today, not tomorrow. Okay, climate change issues is a major challenge of every economy. As I said, we know that we need to keep the temperature rise within 1.5 degrees Celsius by end of this century. However, we know that it could really surpass, and it will surpass if we do not take action today. So every nation is trying to really do their best in order to combat climate change issues. Recently, we have seen, the incident in Libya and Morocco. And before that, there are so many things: flash flooding in Mumbai, and landslides in in the northern part of India, bushfire in Australia, okay, high temperature, even in a very cold place in Canada. So they are the impact of global warming. Okay, I was in Caribbean island for quite some time, and there used to be never the temperature beyond 25 degrees Celsius. Today, it goes up till 35 degrees Celsius. So global warming is a very very challenging things. So there would be, if we cannot really keep the temperature rise within 1.5 degrees Celsius, quite likely we will, there would be, the island nation would be underwater. There would be huge ingression of saline water in the land. Okay, so that needs more energy. So we spend more energy to convert our saline water to potable water. We would be absorbing more fossil fuel. So we would be going into the vicious circles of from bad to worst, so if we are not really addressing that. Okay, so today we would be looking into emphasizing on only industrial supply chain, emphasizing on small and medium sized enterprises perspective. We will try to really see what actions are being taken and should be taken, and how we could contribute. Okay, I would be sharing my experience working in various research projects and being in the industry. I will quickly introduce myself, although Professor Ghosh has already said, in order to really develop the context of today's discussion, and then we would try to really hear from you as well. Okay, so my name is Prashant Uday. I am Professor of Operations and Informations Management at Aston Business School. I have experience in working in project and supply chain management, and I'm sure that you are aware what is project management and what is supply chain management. From a very first principle, conversion of ideas to reality is project management. Okay, journey. Okay, from ideas to reality. Okay, making it tangible. And what is supply chain management? Supply chain management is movement of materials, information, and money across all the stakeholders involved. Today, we are talking about closed loop supply chain. Okay, so we would be exploring those. Okay, I graduated from Jadavpur University. By training, I'm a mechanical engineer. I spent quite a few years, 13 years in oil industry, Indian Oil Corporation Limited, where I was involved in Panipat refinery construction. My expertise is in design, planning, implementation, and operations of oil pipelines. So logistics part of it. Okay, so I was involved, worked in Haldia refinery, Panipat refinery. I was in Delhi for quite some times, and I still do consulting work in oil industry. Recently, I have facilitated oil pipeline construction feasibility analysis of a company called Sunangal in Angola, and helped them feasibility analysis of 2,000 kilometer pipeline laying from Angola to Zambia. Okay, so it's a project funded by by both the governments, and I helped them to design, then planning and implementations of this pipeline. Okay, so where I have adopted number of sustainability practices, okay, which I would be sharing as we move on, but we would be concentrating today's discussion mainly on the small and medium sized enterprises. I did my master's from Asian Institute of Technology in Bangkok, in industrial engineering in early 90s, and still continue doing research with them. And most interestingly, after spending 13 years, I moved to the academia. I started my academic endeavor with University of West Indies in Barbados. Okay, so quite a big experience. I spent 5 years there, and I worked with almost all the sector, through government projects, help them to manage, implement, design, implement, and operate those projects across the sector, like in tourism, in prison, in in agriculture, in industry sector, you name, I have worked on. Okay, so that's my experience. I moved to Aston University in 2004, and quite a few of you have visited already, and some of you will be visiting also in the due course. So we constantly work. We means Aston University in collaboration with the Indian universities. Professor Ghosh introduced this. We have worked, with industry and academia together, and our role is to really make a very good collaboration between industry and academia. That means in academia we research on the industry problems, and we provide solution, and then you apply it. We learn from the industry, and then we bring it back. So it's a circle that keeps on going. So while we know that there is an issue in the society dealing with the environmental challenges, so we got to really bring it back to our laboratory, okay, and develop the concept. And from that concept, we develop pilot, and from that pilot, we make commercial deployment. That's the thing. That's the journey we got to really take. And I will share through examples, mainly with small and medium-sized enterprises. If time permits, I would share some of the things, outside small and medium-sized enterprises that we are trying to really cover. Okay, in today's discussions, our approach would be how could we embed circular economy within small and medium-sized enterprise and its supply chain. Okay, first of all, we would try to really understand that what does circular economy means. I'm sure that you have heard of it. What I will try to really do, rather try to really think from a very practical perspective, what circular economy for small and medium sized enterprises, how the philosophy could really help them to combat climate change issues or contribute towards reducing the climate change issues, that sort of thing. We would be looking the things from two perspectives. Okay, one is if I'm a small and medium sized enterprise, what do I do to make my activities or my functions greener? Okay, now if a group of companies, say if we are trying to really look the things from consortium's perspective, okay, industry consortium perspective, as for example, FOSME is our partnership. We are working together. So FOSME has say 3,000 companies in their consortium. So if FOSME likes to really help all these companies to become greener, so what way they would be suggesting them. Now if policymakers like government, okay, say UK government, I will give you example of what UK government is doing in order to really suggest SMEs to become circular. Okay, similarly, if say a particular council or say West Bengal government or Indian government, what Indian government role should be and how they would be really saying that, okay, they could support SMEs to do it. Okay, so two perspective we would be looking at. And if you are a researchers, what way you could really do the research and communicate to the stakeholders so that you could support through your study to become SME greener. So that sort of approach we would be discussing. And from my experience, I would share with you the work that we have done already and the paper we have published and very physical project we have delivered and where this has been really implemented, what benefit they are doing. Okay, so that would be our discussion attention today. So going back to the climate change issues, we know the effect. We can see it. There is, anybody can really see the effect of, global warming. Now, what is the root causes of it? Okay, root causes are, if we see it, energy, food, and water. If we try to really look into the three basic things, the way we use them is the root causes of it. Okay, so first of all, that we burn too much of fossil fuel. Okay, 84% of the world energy is being produced from fossil fuel. We have too many coal-fired power plant today. Okay, so we need to really be very, very careful that how we are, what is our energy sources. We know that more than 30% of the energy in India is coming from renewable sources today, which is really, really good. Okay, but still, 70% of the electricity in India comes from coal today. In the UK, it has been reduced substantially. Okay, used to be, say, 5, 10 years before, it used to be 10, 11%. Electricity used to be from coal. There are a number of coal-fired plant existing, but today there is only one, and that too they decided to close it down last year. Okay, but the Ukraine war came, so UK government still decided to really keep it standby. Okay, because we used to get many gas and oil from Russia as well as Ukraine. So because of this, they have just kept it, but still they are not firing it. Only 1% of the electricity today comes from the coal in the UK. Okay, but if we look at the countries that are firing coal, even the developed economy like Australia, Germany, okay, China, India, in the Europe, Germany burned quite a bit of coal and that, and they required to really offset it. I will come to that point later on. So we are still, total world is still dependent on the coal-fired power plant. Okay, and we all know that Indian government has decided to become net zero by 2070, whereas UK government has decided to do it by 2040, but it is not achievable for sure. Okay, let's look into the food part of it. Okay, we know 1 in 9 people do not get food today. Okay, but still we waste too much of food. But the worst part it is if we, when we waste the food and this waste is not being processed properly. Okay, the 40, 50% of the food waste will be dumped into the landfill, and when it goes to landfill, it produces methane. Methane is 30, 40 times worse than CO2. Okay, and it discharges other gases as well. Okay, so last but not the least is the water. We have contaminated almost all water sources. Many of our lakes are, totally contaminated. River Ganges is been, contaminated from Hardwar onwards. So it used to be from Allahabad onwards. Now it is Hardwar onwards. Okay, we know that the quality of water around us also, although one third of the world is full of water. Okay, but we have contaminated. This is not in India only. Everywhere you go, you will find that water is contaminated. Even people are now today are shouting about water pollution in the UK. Okay, Thames used to be quite polluted. In the meantime, they did work on it. It became better than that. But now people are talking about the UK, all water streams are not as pure as they should be. Okay, so there are issues and challenges that we need to really address. So you can well see enough food for thoughts and how you need to really work. Okay, what problem you require to really address. Okay, through our project we are working on all those aspects, but today in these discussions we would be limiting our scope within small and medium sized enterprises. So we understand circular economy is the solution. You have heard about circular economy, few sentences about it. I will not spend long here because you know better than me what is circular economy. Now I think you are at the last day of the training session. So it's a first principle. Okay, from our for our existence we require to make our supply chain from linear to circular. Resource should be on and on within that cycle. There should not be anything into the landfill. Okay, even if you are segregating your waste, you got to think of how you are utilizing this waste, how you get value out of it. Okay, and you have to give equal emphasis to economic, environmental and social performance. Okay, use, reduce, reuse, recycle principle. Okay, use renewable energy, bring efficiency in energy uses. Okay, resource utilization, and try to really emphasize on the waste recycling, get value addition out of that. Okay, I will give you one example of circular economy here. You have known about it, clothing industry. Okay, cloth we are wearing, how long we use it, what do we do with that. So in the UK and Europe, there are many circular economy fashion shop. Like, you don't have to really buy clothes. You just go there and rent it, and it would be less expensive, so your economic performance is better. You're wearing a new things, your your utility is getting higher. Okay, but you, after your uses, you just bring it back, and then you get your money back, and this would be processed within this plant, and it would be made ready for the next use, as if it is new. So you do not require to really buy a branded clothes, but you can use it in a lesser price, and the life of the product could be extended. Okay, and this is working, people have accepted it. And you need to really judge your product by how long you can keep it within the supply chain. Okay, so you will find that developing economy, emerging economy is better in doing it than the developed economy. But developed economy is learning now. So we have now the equipment, appliances, what we use it at a home, is being maintained by the original equipment manufacturer. Okay, and you can really get the money back. Used to be that you have to really pay to the recycler. Now you can really get money. So system is awarding the people if they try to recycle it and try to extend the life of the product. Okay, there are a number of maintenance and insurance policy through which you would not be throwing your product or appliances. You will be keeping it and using it, and we are following it. Many people are following. They are getting the business model there. Okay, then buying a new equipment, so life of the product is enhanced. So that sort of things are really very important to keep in mind while we design our supply chain, our product, and we do our do our plan. Okay, and we operate our system, in order you require to really get the product life as much as possible. So small and medium sized enterprises. Why small and medium sized enterprises? Because 90% of the world business happens through them. Okay, they employ 50% of the workforce. Any economy, it's not in emerging economy. They are doing. They have more SMEs than the developed. No, see the example here. Um, I was in Malaysia a couple of days before. I was delivering a workshop with a group of Chinese manufacturing sector. Okay, so I found that 140 million SMEs as per 2020 statistics. Okay, 60% contribute 60% to GDP. Okay, employ more than 40% of the workforce. So that's sort of statistic. In the UK, 6 million, 16 people they employ, close to 50% to GDP. Okay, there are statistics of Thailand. I'm not reading everything here, and these slides would be available to you. Wherever I have worked and contributed in, I do work in Caribbean also. So I have statistics for Caribbean. Okay, in India, 63 million MSME and 48 million SMEs, and contributes heavily in manufacturing. Okay, and employ a huge number of people, better than me, and creating 1.3 million jobs everywhere. So you can well see that huge contribution to the GDP. But their performance, the environmental and social performance is not really as impressive as it should be. Not only in the emerging economy, even in the developed economy also. Okay, 70% of the global pollution collectively been contributed by SME, particularly in manufacturing sector, 64%. But only 0.4%, even not 1% of SME complies with the environmental management system. Okay, so these are statistics taken from the secondary sources, but our experience says that it is right. Okay, very small SME, even in the developed economy. I will give you example later on that I'm supporting many SMEs in the UK very formally with the UK government funding. So I have all the authentic primary information from SMEs here. And I do work with FOSME since last, Professor Ghosh and I are continuously working with FOSME for more than 15, 20 years. Whenever I am in Kolkata, I would be sitting with the companies, people would be trying to really get their views on that. I've seen that. Things are really like this. Okay. In Brazil, Mexico, Caribbean, same story. Thailand, Vietnam, same horror story we could really see. Okay. But you cannot blame them because they have to really emphasize on their economic performance. They are in between big companies in the supply side and the demand side. So many things are really happening, which is they have to really concentrate on the economic part of it. They have little time left for dealing with their environmental and social part of it. But if this is being really pressurized or regularized from the government as well as from the two supply and demand sides, then things could really be better. We'll see it later on. Okay, SMEs are responsible for 50% of the industrial pollution in Asia Pacific. 8 out of 10 pollution incident in the UK is being contributed by the SMEs, which is being reported by the environmental agencies. Okay, but there is a huge scope of contribution. Okay, the last bullet point is very interesting, where we could see that SME consumes quite a bit of energy, of total energy being consumed for the industrial production system, and there is a huge scope of gaining energy efficiency. So through our work we have seen it, and we have done loads of contribution to reduce the carbon footprint or energy consumption vis-a-vis the CO2 reduction. It is possible. That's the work I would like to really share with you. Okay, so SMEs and circular economy, that's our attention. I think I have enough context why we should do it and what are the things that is happening all across the world, and that we are working not only in the countries but across the continent, as I are saying. So it's a collaboration between industry and academia, and we need to really work together. um, Industry works in silo, researchers work also in silo. Okay, that's the major issue in in today's society, today's economy, not only in emerging economy but also in the developed economy. So what is happening through this British Council funding, we are trying to really bring industry and academia together. We want to really learn from each other, okay, and contributes by hand holding. It's not that academia know better than industry, and other way around as well. So we record to help each other. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We are best at our part of it. So why not we work together to make it happen? So that is why we are here, and we are trying to really see that how we could resolve the problem. If, while academia is having expertise in analytical tool, then the industry people have their practical experience. They can do it much better than us. Okay, so we analyze and you do it, and you do it. Give us the problem, we analyze it, we provide solution, you tell that how it works, and that's the way we could really develop a um, knowledge forum. And that's our objective. In a web-based system, we develop, we integrate ourselves, we constantly learn and share and disseminate, and we change our world. Okay, so I would be sharing to start with, as I said again, I remind you, in my discussion, my presentation, I would try to really cover sometimes problem looking from a for group of companies, the solution for group of companies, and sometimes the solution for one company. And if you represent one company, you like to really implement it in your organization, then you got to really take this in a perspective and adopt it. Okay, so we try to really see that first of all, why SMEs should be motivated for circular economy adoption. Okay, what sort of performance target SMEs are really taking it, and what sort of methods are being used. Okay, so whole purpose is, in both the cases, if you are trying to improve the performance of a particular company, or you like to really improve the performance of group of companies, you have to do three things. First of all, understand their current state, where they are. So you need to really have a method in front of you, or you need to evolve a method, develop a method, so that you can understand it. You can very well have a grasp of what's going on, and you should be able to constantly get that, because environment will vary, the system will change, but in a changing environment, that we need to find out where are we. Okay. Then understand issues, challenges, and opportunities, then change it, get the solution. There are enablers available, and these bring these enablers, and then adopt it and learn from it. Okay, and develop, make changes in your system and disseminate it to other. And every system is unique, so everybody requires to adapt it, customize it. So there is a basic understanding of it, and then the customization part of it. Perhaps the customization part of it would be the expertise of the companies, okay, or the system as a whole. So you got to really define the system. The study I'm trying to really share now, it's related to the system where we have considered small and medium sized enterprises in India. Okay, mainly the companies in the various sector. Predominantly, it is from West Bengal, and in the UK, we took the West Midland, and West Midland is a central part of Britain, where most of the automotive supply chain companies in the automotive supply chain, are there. So we look into that. We try to really understand what motivates them, whether it varies from geographic location, economy to economy. Like UK economy is different than the Indian economy. There's a is a different geographic locations. Okay, and if you look at, you will find that belief, religion, and all the things have also impact. And we try to really look into the industries also. Okay, manufacturing, process, construction, service sector, they will have a defined understanding. So motivational part, environmental target, monitoring method, that these are the three things we look at. Motivation in terms of, it is a self motivation, semi self motivation, whether they have been really regulated or pressurized, or influenced by their supplier or customers. As I said, that predominantly SMEs will have, in the supply side larger organization, demand side larger organization also. So whether, how are they really get influenced by them? Okay, are there enough motivation being given to them? Okay. Environmental targets, like environmental target related to energy, related to water, related to materials, air, that sort of thing. And various type of methods like audit. Okay, ISO 14,000, ISO 50,000, ISO, there are a number of ISO standard. And other than that also, there are various regulatory standard being adopted, in a very much country, like CDEX have come, where responsible businesses are very important in the UK. Okay, so if they are not complying to that, they will not be able to do the business. Eco-literacy, that sort of things we wanted to really know. Okay, there is a research paper been published a couple of years before. I would give you the highlight of that. All this paper would be made available to you so that you can use it. So we found that greatest motivation for SMEs to consider CSR comes from moral duty in both the countries. So country specific, things have been done here. I can take out the pen. Okay, yes. So you can see in this diagram, various factors have been taken. I'm not really explaining in detail, and all this color represents that UK and India. CSR, and CSR related to the only social part, environment is related to environment things. And we found the greatest motivation, for, sorry, let me take the pen. Okay, yes. No, this is not, somehow it's not working. Okay, so let me tell you this one. Greatest motivation for SMEs to consider the environment comes from the legislation. And if we move on, then highest pressure for considering the environment comes from government. Highest pressure for considering the CSR comes from the customers. Okay, interesting point. You can see the government is the regulator, and the customers are doing the business B2B. So CSR is being coming from the customers. So in this diagram, you can see that just concentrate on the ISO part of it. So you can see um, that ISO 14,000 in the UK companies are doing better than the Indian company. But I would say, yeah, any question, please?
No.
Okay. So I'm trying to really work. Yeah, now it is working. Okay. So you can well see here ISO 14,000 is being implemented in the UK by more company than India, but it's a bit older figure. I'm sure that there will be more now if we look at it. Okay. The positive part that CSR practices are more in India than UK, but that doesn't mean that UK companies are not social friendly and that I've seen that they are not that, but perhaps the way we ask the questions and social part is embedded within the system here. Okay, unless you are really addressing the social needs, then you will not be allowed to do the business on that. Perhaps their perception is slightly different from the Indian companies. So overall, what we found that the both the sites require enough maturity. There are loads of things to really do in order to improve the sustainability aspect of small and medium sized enterprises, whether they are in India or the UK. Okay, so what sort of method? Well, we started working with individually one company, because earlier study was related to group of companies. Okay, and policymaker can take the advantage of it and say, okay, if Indian SMEs do not have much ISO 14,000, then maybe we need to really set up a program or start a program so as to motivate SMEs to take ISO 14,000, okay, or ISO 50,000, which is energy efficiency measures. Okay, so that sort of things could really any or industry consortium, they could say, okay, they would be having training program, awareness thing. Awareness is lacking in a particular port. So anybody can really make the things in order to really get into that level. So I think Venkat is there in the audience. So your company in Sri City, you can do the study finding out that okay, how good they are in adopting standardized processes. Okay, if you find that there are a lack of things, you could really say or motivate, either giving some funding or allowing them to undertake training and then analyze them that how they do it. But if we try to really adopt circular economy, we need to adopt a transformational approach, because circular economy adoption is a paradigm shift. Okay, so how do we do that? We do typical process re-engineering approach where we map the supply chain. Okay, try to really derive the sustainability performance. What is sustainability performance? Economic, environmental, and social performance. Within economic, we could really look into quite a few productivity factor. I'm not repeating here, you know it. And the environmental things, whatever you feel that would be good measures for your environmental side, it may vary from company to company, but get objective parameters. Social also, take objective parameter and see that how are you really performing, and is there any issues and challenges. Set up targets. Okay, get the enablers, how you could really meet the target. Typical enablers may be technology, people aspects. Okay, process modification, training, um, some sort of physical changes in the facilities, so on and so forth. Get that, implement that. That means you have to really look into the business model. Okay, capital cost, then look into the operating cost, get payback period, all sort of thing. Then implement it, evaluate it. There will be some changes and that you may get better things and that, and then report it. Okay, you will find that this cycle is working. We adopt it in more than 30 companies. We have a case study. Okay, Professor Go should be able to share those case studies. There are more companies we have worked. I have just written 30. I'm sure it is the number now crosses 50. In going global, you are working with at least 5 companies in all the regions. Okay, we got extra funding to work with the companies in Shillong, in collaboration with IIM Shillong, and then I am Nagpur and Bits Pilani. So you can see that we would be working in another 6 months till middle of next year. We'd be working with academia and industry, and we'd be working one to one, 5 companies in each zone, and then even we'll be trying to contribute in a bigger audience. Okay, through our method, you can well see that I'm trying to really give you the perspective of how you develop your framework and act on it. Okay. Another study, I'm back to back will be giving you, bombard you with quite a few models, different type of models, and all this model worked. And I have detailed papers on that. Anybody interested can take that and adopt it. And what I'm telling is not theoretical at all. It has theory. We build the theory, but it has been applied and embedded within the companies. Okay. Here again, same thing. Step one, step two, and step three is talking about current state, issues, challenges, opportunities, and improvement measures. Okay, where we try to really look into the circular part of the supply chain: take, make, distribute, use, and recover. And we try to develop a correlation between sustainability performance. Okay, and we adopt the statistical method, which is structure equation modeling. Now, who are in the industry, you don't have to worry about the statistical bit of it. Your academic partner will have expertise on that, and your procurement, production, distribution, consumption, and the reverse logistics much better than the academic people. So you tell them what are the things where the problems are, so you work together, you can make it. So we develop a very robust tool, and it is computerized. It could really hold in a particular platform. It could really work in a very much digital way, and we could really clearly identify that where the problem is. Okay, in a group of company, same model could be really transformed to serving one to one also. Okay, so we did both. And our first study in the UK, I will show you that after doing the statistical analysis. I will not really explain the statistical part of it, but our academic colleagues, both in India and in the UK, are having expertise on that. As I said, we have a tool that could really help you to get your group of companies analysis very quickly done and find out where you are doing well, where you could really improve it. So you can well see here in the UK, I'm not really showing all the data here. You can see that in the UK companies in the West Midland, which are in the supply chain of big company like Jaguar Land Rover, Rolls-Royce, East Midland Train, this type of manufacturing company, all these functions within the organizations are designed, planned, and being operated to achieve economic performance only. Okay, and take, distribute, and make and use these two, production and the consumptions, are quite circular. That means this is giving economic, environmental, and social performance. But there are huge room for improvement in procurement, okay, in distribution, in the reverse logistics. These three things could be really improved. I think most of the company supply chain, correct me if I'm wrong from your perspective, that procurement, distribution, recovery, everywhere I've seen that there is a room for improvement. Okay, that's our observation in the UK. So another interesting study we did, that we know lean. Lean is very very known things, which is efficiency from with respect to everything. But sometimes in order while we adopt lean, we miss the environmental and social address. Sometimes environmental and social aspects practices are a bit expensive. Okay, we bring a new terminology called sustainability oriented innovation, which is addressing both environmental and social part of it. Okay, quite a bit, a bit used in the academia. Do not know much about in the industry, but industry definitely innovation is being used very popularly. Okay, so here we consider CSR practices as mainly the social part of it, and sustainability performance is looking into both these the environmental and social part, and economic performance is looking into the productivity part of it. And what we try to really find out the correlation, okay, whether lean approaches is giving sustainability performance. Performance is being considered, as I said, the IDP, only environmental and social performance, and economic performance is separately being taken. So because SMEs having a sort of less cash available and quite competitive, we require to really address that. We suggest something to them which gives bring benefit to them in terms of economic performance also. Okay, if we suggest something which is not giving them economic performance, at least medium to long term, okay, then it is a problem. So we call it that we require to really take the things, capital investment from the life cycle perspective. Okay, not only the capital investment, but look into the return on investment. So if thumb rule is, if the payback period is within 3 years, it is really good. Okay, to and company says yes, let's go ahead with it. So we found that's the thing which is quite good. I will not explain everything. Lean is giving good economic performance. Okay, sustainability oriented innovation is also giving good economic performance. Okay, very close to one. Quite a positive things. Only thing that there is a trade-off between economic and sustainability performance thing. That we environmental, as we know that it is quite known. We cannot really get all the economic, environmental, and social performance always. We need to really make a good trade-off to get into that. Okay, so there are a number of similar model we have come out with. Now, as I said, again, I repeat that this type of framework has, first of all, that by understanding the supply chain and value chain of the company, we record to really get those constructs. Okay, it might sounds a bit heavy for the industry people, but be with me. But my academic colleagues, they that is their bread and butter. They can really help you to design the framework for your company and can develop the method how to really find out where you are in terms of your sustainability, and they will take it from there and they will work with you and help you to get there. So our approach in this training program is to really give you the perspective of how you go ahead with it and how you get those factors for your company, which is customized for your company. How do you develop a method that through which you would be able to constantly measure your performance, and how do you derive the enablers that will help you to really get there? And I will give you some example here. So there are a number of possibilities through which you could really do it, and we have done by looking into the supply chain, where the supply chain driver facilities, quite known to all the academically, transportation, inventory, sourcing, and just tweak that into technology. Okay, and what are the subconstruct for that, and further proxies, and how are they contributing to the economic performance? Okay, we develop another model, again statistical analysis. Again, it could really be done in a very subjective way also, developing a protocol out of it, and then go to the company and get the information about it, and that will enable you to find out where we are, and then we would be able to really find out issues, challenges, and opportunities, and from that we would be deriving the solution. Okay, enablers, technology part, process part, cultural part, training part, everything we need to, organizational restructuring, facility changing, everything will be revealing very objective, and then objectively you say that how much changes are possible both in economic, environment, and social performance. Implement it. You can develop the business model very objectively. So that is the capital cost, that's the operating cost, and that's the payback period. You know that, and you get the money will come from. Sometimes government must support. Unless you do develop the business model, you cannot go to the funding body. There are a number of finance available with a less interest for the green initiative. Various banking companies, various institutional financing companies have been evolved all across the world, and global fund is available also in COP26 and other onwards, the Paris Agreement. The developed economies have created a fund that is available, but unless you do this analysis yourself, do your homework, you do not know and you do not have plan in place, how do you really adopt it? So that's the thing we need to really get in. So very specific, we have worked with more than 400 companies. Here is the example of 165 companies with this project has been funded by European Regional Development Fund. And these companies, this is the West Midland. This project is in the West Midland. And I've done another project in East Midland in collaboration with the University of Derby, where we have helped 214 companies in the automotive supply chain. And we have suggested them, we have developed an analytical tool where we spoke to companies CEO one to one, very qualitative interview. And we try to really find out that what they would be doing in order to improve their overall performance. And most of the cases, the company, because CEO of the company, they know their company much, much better than what we do know them. Okay, but we told that you come out because they know what to really improve on that. And we told that write it somewhere, do not show it to us. And we had gone through with our tool the one-to-one discussion, and then we suggested that you need to really do that. Okay, then there is obviously quite a bit of change between what we suggested and what he had in his mind. And in 100% cases, they agreed to our suggestion, because our suggestion was more holistic, covering every aspect of it. And if it has been really analyzed that if they adopt our approach, then the problem that he's bringing in will be also solved. So it worked out very well. We looked into the leadership agility, sustainable supply chain, okay, excellence in quality, and innovation in logistics, and production. Okay, that's sort of things we consider a bit high level factors. We subdivided that also, so I'm not really showing it here. But this project, which I'm showing it in front of you, we had a target of working for with 165 company for close to 5 years plus, and we had given a target to reduce in an average 7 ton per company. Okay, what we have achieved, we have achieved 40 ton per company. We contributed 6 times more than what has been given target for us, very physically. Okay, we have provided match funding of maximum 12,250. That means a company can take more than 25,000 pound project, and 50% of this would be reimbursed. If they go beyond that, then only 12,250 would be given to them. Okay, so we found there are 3 categories of company. One group of company, they are quite committed to do that. Okay, because they are doing in anyways with our money. Their initiative got moved faster, and then they have implemented it as well, and they got the benefit. We evaluated them also, and our evaluation says that 40 ton has been achieved. Okay, we develop long-term relationship with 30 SMEs, and the company in an average reduce their production cost by 9,000 pound, which is 9 lakhs rupees, okay, in Indian rupees. So huge amount of contribution. So you can well see that this is a very physical project, and this is with the help of UK government, 50% funding. Okay, so we this project was over, and this is European Union funded. After Brexit, this project is over, but now UK government has started a new scheme, and we have entrusted to work with 1,437 companies to do their energy audit, and subsequently they would be given match funding, similar way, but more funding would be available to the company to implement and embed sustainability aspect within their system. So you can see the example how the government is coming forward to help SMEs to adopt it. Okay, and this type of initiative is very less all across the world, I would say. So this way, I would salute UK government that have taken quite a bit of initiative for SMEs to become carbon neutral, because they know that in industrial supply chain, if you like to really make industrial supply chain greener, you have to target small and medium sized enterprises. Big companies are under regulation, and they could really achieve it, but smaller company, unless the big companies have been supporting, the government is creating level playing field, things will not really improve. So this has been done, and companies are adopting a different type of procurement approach also. So what approach we have done, again, transformational thing, a bit focused. We develop a diagnostic tool, okay, carbon footprint measurement tool. You know, although I will not be directly demonstrating it, I would be giving you the tool. It is not really rocket science. It is a spreadsheet now, and we have developed a tool which is in the form of development now, but I will be able to really show it in the due course. But I will give you the detail here. So you got to understand the scope one and scope two energy consumption. So what is scope one, scope two, and scope three energy consumption? Scope one is direct energy consumption, which you measure it. Okay, so where we consume energy, uh, predominantly in three places: facilities. Okay, you have meter for that. Production process, again, you have meter for that. If you do not have a separate meter, you could separately measure it also using data logger or other method. Okay, there are methods available for it. And you be consuming in logistics. Okay, fuel and that, and even in these you could use gas. Okay, that could also be measurable. So scope one is all measurable energy uses within a particular company. So this you can easily collate it, collected and collated, and can derive the total energy consumption. And there are European standard. You could really convert energy consumption to CO2. But if you can Google it also, you will find that what is CO2 equivalent for a particular diesel consumption. Get all those figures, and you can easily calculate CO2. That's the thing, and it is not rocket science. We have done the same thing. We have developed an Excel sheet. We have all conversion method. Once we get those things from the company, we get vis-a-vis CO2. So scope one CO2 is being calculated like that. Now, what is scope two? Scope two is related to the type of energy you are using, whether it is fossil fuel or whether it is coming from renewable sources, and it has a different factor. Again, you can't do much here. You have to really follow the standard, and then accordingly you would be changing. Everything is being calculated on the basis of fossil fuel, and then you add the factor if it is coming from the renewable sources. But you might not be able to really get it directly unless your provider is giving you some information. Like, I do not know how much energy is being consumed in my home, in order to understand that what is the percentage of that. But my electricity provider in my bill says that 40% of the electricity of my supplier is coming from renewable thing. So then I can factorize it. So scope 2 is also being objectively calculated. Now scope 3 is related to the resource. Okay, indirectly, like that we individually consume quite a bit of resources. Okay, quite a bit of energies and that. We got to calculate that. There are science behind it, and company can really get that. We are not discussing about scope 3 here, but I think low hanging fruits are scope 1 and scope 2. If we know the scope 1 and scope 2 part of it, that's if we can address it, then we get into the another level of maturity. Then we can do the scope 3 part of it. Scope 3 would be very much customized, and it needs to be really be very much been independently or individually been calculated, and you can come out with it. This could be a sort of second stage of research that the companies must be undertaking. But without doing scope 1 and scope 2, don't move into scope 3. Okay, make sure that you have addressed the scope 1 and scope 2. So most of our work in this project was related to scope 1 and scope 2. Okay, we derive carbon footprint like that, the way I said, then target reduction carbon footprint, and derive the holistic improvement measures. As I said, I'm not repeating this time. So, technology, process, culture, organization change, everything could really be incorporated, and you do the business modeling, implement it, and then evaluate it and see that how it works. And it should be constant, dynamic. So many company will get benefit if they develop a web-based platform. So what we are trying to really do, come out with a tool, and this tool would be made available for all the companies and they would be able to use it by paying a very minimal license fees, so that they can dynamically look into their, in a dashboard they could really look into their carbon footprint. Okay, scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. To start with scope 1 and scope 2, and then take actions. And you would be objectively able to say that, okay, I'm reducing that much of CO2. That's an impact on my economic performance, and the company may take the decision. But life cycle approach can say always show you the benefit, overall benefit. So this diagram talks about that, where we get that. I'm not repeating here. I have explained that to you. Facilities, process, and your logistics. You get scope 1 and scope 2 energy consumption. Even the scope 3 also. In scope 3, you require to really be very, very intelligent and cleverly find out your, and you require to really get involved yourself. You know that, okay, as for example, you have 5 marketing manager. Okay, in an average, this 5 marketing manager travels 2 times abroad, or 5 times within India, and whether their travel could be really reduced, that will have impact on the CO2, reducing CO2 emission, that sort of thing. Material, how much inventory you are keeping, as for example, will also give you the scope 3 resource efficiency part of it. Okay, and the facility, people, comfort and the productivity standard, well-being measures, and all these things could really add to that. That's so you enhance well-being by doing something, and that has impact on your productivity. Okay, and if you have productivity, then your energy consumption is less. So you reduce your workload by, say, a couple of days, and you try to really work from home once in a week. That sort of thing have impact as well. And you work less hour, that has impact also, positive, negative. And as the energy consumption is directly, indirectly related to that. So you require to really be innovative here in the scope 3 to get into understand what is scope 3 for you and how do you really reduce it. Okay, so there are various type of things companies have adopted. In our project, equipment, facility, heating, cooling, then the telematic, procurement measures, the so on and so forth. Okay, quick case study examples. Paint 360. I have a podcast with them, and the CEO of Paint 360 is with me to say that how they have gotten benefit from our intervention. So Paint 360 is a circular company itself. Their input, their resources are 80% from the recycled paint, and they are a green company by default. But they got further benefit working with us. We looked into their supply chain. We tried to really make it more circular, and we carried out energy efficiency and resource efficiency audit with them. Okay, following both ISO 14000 and ISO 50000 principle. And we provided grant support for energy efficient production equipment. And what they could really achieve, batch production by 1/3, started 100% recycling of their paint, and CO2 reduction is 250. So remember that I said 40 ton. Now I'll give you a quick perspective, which I forgot to mention. 10 ton is equivalent to average UK household energy consumption per year, or it is planting 30 trees, or taking 50 cars out of the roads. So you can well see huge amount of contribution they could make by reducing 250 tons CO2, okay, for one intervention. So Pen 360, there are a number of stories on that, and we have SME low carbon website where there are a number of case studies have been depicted. ESW Knowles, ESW Knowles is a sophisticated door manufacturing company. They have 80 employees, 6 million pound turnover. SME has been defined in the UK by 10 to 250, okay, employees, and the turnover is less than 50 million euros. So you can see this company. So how we help them? ISO 14000 have been implemented. Okay, and we have given carbon grant, and they have energy variable speed driver compressor. They got it through our project. Okay, and what have they achieved? 32% carbon footprint reduction, and reduction of cost by 16 lakhs been reduced. 116 ton of CO2 reduction. Okay, on electricity cost, reduce electricity cost by 32%. You might have heard that the electricity price has gone up thrice in the UK due to Ukraine war and other reason, like companies are investing heavily in the green initiatives, so they have taxed the individuals, including companies. So every companies are after reducing the energy consumption, so they are quite motivated for a carbon reduction program. So we handle them, we objectively derive this, and we implement it. Okay. So by doing that, we have come out with a very robust audit model, okay, which will enable you to understand or develop framework out of it to how to analyze it. Again, I go back to my first principle understanding of the analytic bit of it. Okay. So we require to understand the what's happening. So this tool will help you to know what's happening. Okay. So can anybody tell me that how am I doing in terms of the time? I forgot to really get any clock or watch with me, and I cannot see it from the system. So Dinesh or Professor Ghosh, if you can tell me that how much time you have.
Yes. 1 5.
How much time I have?
15 minutes. 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Okay. Okay, so I would like to really get your reflection. So another, 5 minutes I will finish, and then we will have a bit discussion for 10 minutes. Allow you to ask me some questions. Okay, so you can see this framework will enable us to capture everything that within an organization that can happen. So we picked up here the C field of actions, which are related to design, procurement, production, distribution, consumption, and the recovered part of it. The total closed loop supply chain, and we have all the economic performance and their various factors. This may vary, but that's a way I am saying that we require to capture. Okay, this is productivity factor, economic factor. This is environmental factor, and these are all social factors. This is the supply chain. Okay, supply chain driver. So this will enable us that what is happening. Okay. Yeah, we can add to that the sustainability oriented innovation part of it. What are innovative activity being undertaken, what are lean activities being taken place, and in terms of digital part of it. Okay, where we are, what sort of decision we can take, various type of technology that could be adopted. So all the enablers that could really be considered within the system also has been captured here. Okay, how we are addressing the climate change issues directly, whether any innovation is directly linking it with the climate change issues. Okay, as for example, use of plastic. Okay, so have we done anything in terms of using the plastic packaging? Many companies are now not using plastic at all for the packaging, have innovated packages through paper. Okay, well-being part of it also included here. You see that because this is our all upstream factor which will have impact here. Okay, and the most of the model do not consider the this aspect, which is implied demand uncertainties, which is the part of the demand part of the supply chain. Okay, how do we really capture customers need, product attributes, and the competition part within our model? Okay, that is also being considered here. So we try to really develop a very robust model, which give a perspective to anybody using it, and take into consideration while they develop their own. Okay, so again, the first one is related to the factors that we must consider while we try to really take analytical model for both individual company as well as a group of company. And the next one is related to method. What robust method we adopt? Remember that I have explained to you the process re-engineering approach and the diagnostic approach. Same thing here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps, and giving the perspective what we need to really do. So I'm not really going in detail here, but which I have already explained. But it gives you a detailed perspective of step-by-step approach that you undertake in order to get the transform the company in a circular fashion. Okay, embedding circular economy aspect within your system. So, in order to really get into that, you could first try to really, because various type of companies or group of companies would be having different type of maturity level 1, level 2, to level 5. Okay, a very low matured companies will have a different prescription. Like you can well see that mainly they will be focusing on facility part of it. They will not move into the process part. Okay, our research driven. Okay, so you need low capital for that. You do not need huge capital on that. Mainly, you need to really do what sort of action you need to do is the life cycle analysis of the facility and do that. Okay, don't get into the upper level unless you solve that. That would be our suggestion. So like that, you move on, and then you will find that even a very high matured and environmentally socially friendly company might need to really further improve it. So high matured company will be going for transformation. Okay, totally re-engineering the things. Okay, so and then you try to really develop exemplary business case and knowledge transfer. So you would be looking for high capital expenditure, and your return would be also very big. Today we are talking about industry 5.0. We are talking about artificial intelligence, and we are talking about digital intervention and the circular economy together. So perhaps the company in a very high level, they are ready for that. But if you say very primitive company, let's go for transformation, and that it would be white elephant. So try to really understand the maturity level first, and then accordingly you take the actions. Our research says that that's the area to focus, and that's the likely impact, and that's the process that you will be following. So I think look into this very closely and adopt it. And if you are not, you means in the industry, I would suggest that take help of ours. Okay, we would be able to really handle you and suggest you, and then it's not that we prescribe the things, but we need develop plan with you so that we could really make it. So my suggestion would be that we need to work together. So what do we conclude from that entire thing? Okay, couple of things. One is circular economy is possible. Okay, if we work together, we require to really get the all stakeholders integrated, and we require to look the things from everybody's perspective, everybody's shoes, and then come out with a solution in integration. So you can see the example of the UK government, SMEs, larger companies are working together to make it happen. And it is not myth. I'm not exaggerating anything. And you have seen while some of you have visited here. Okay, so it's possible, and it's happening, and it's happening in India also. Professor Ghosh and I have worked closely with many companies, not only in West Bengal but also across the various states. We are working with very closely with many companies. Okay, larger companies, smaller companies. We are talking, and all across the world. Recently, I have contributed in a project with the Melbourne City Council. Okay, with Monash University, and we have worked with more than 25 company one to one, and that worked out, and that is really happening. I'm helping University of West Indies, Barbados, and working with the government sector there. It is happening. Okay, it's not myth. It's possible. There is technology solution. into both in conversion. There are new conversion technology like 3D printing. Okay, there are new communication technology today. Industry 5.0 is being adopted. Okay, where environmental things have been included in the digital conversion. It is possible. Okay, and it's happening. So we need to really work together to make it happen. Life cycle costing, life cycle analysis would be the way forward. Don't look into the capital investment immediately. See the return on investment. See the in a global perspective. Okay, and communicate with your decision maker, policy makers. Decide on individual contribution. Decide on group contribution. Decide on as an organization, as a supply chain. How could you really improve it? And then things will improve. We need to really change first our mindset and then move on into this. So we have seen pandemic. We thought that how could we really work from home? Could we survive? How could we really get the global supply chain going on in a very much stringent situation? So but we did it, and we have eradicated this pandemic. Similarly, we can eradicate climate change issues, and we can create a new world, greener world. Okay, for us, not for us and for our future generation. So there are a few references that I have given here, and I would say that thank you very much for your attention. And there are a few points I have kept it for you to reflect if time permits. You require to really consider an organization. Perhaps you would are taking a project like that, and some of you are already working, and there are circular economy practices. Then identify issues and challenges, suggest improvement measures, and what would be the likely impact of the improvement measures on the sustainability performance. Because you are not really doing the project, but you can really do the feasibility part of it. Whatever you are suggesting, whether it makes sense. So if you could follow those steps, then I think that you could really contribute. So through my 1 hour long presentation, I try to really get you the perspective, and that I will stop here. And after saying thank you very much to for listening to me, and it's a quite a bit of long time keeping you waiting after lunch. I hope that you didn't sleep off. Thank you very much. I will stop sharing my screen now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So stop sharing.
Are you able to see the audience?
Yes, I am. Yeah. Yeah.
So first of all, on behalf of the audience, I would like to thank you for sharing your valuable and wonderful experience. Good clap for that. So in fact, in front of the audience, I would like to present that. I would like to say that a week before last week, so I was there in UK along with the professor for a week. So one of the example what he has quoted today, it is possible to achieve with the small SMEs also. Fortunately, we have the opportunity to visit one of the timber industry. None of us, before reaching the site or before seeing really on the site, we are not believed. But the timber industry is able to do a lot, right? Fortunately, as Professor said, it is a collaboration between the academic institute as well as the industry. Willingness from the industry, willingness from the SME, as well as the valuable contribution and giving importance from the academic institute. So they have done a wonderful job in one of the timber unit called as Wilson Timber. So we have witnessed. That is one. And second one, thank you, Professor, for sharing all your experience which you might have gained for many years. So during this last 1 hour, so as one of the participants, I was having a very good opportunity and good exposure. Not only on the carbon measurement, carbon audit, scope 1, scope 2, so many things he has covered. It's a wonderful session for us. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Now I will allow the other participant to come up with their feedback or if they want to discuss anything with you. Yeah. You want to say something? Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, that's already. Just a moment.
I think
Yes,
use
yes,
one system, otherwise it is echoing.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go on.
Yes, as already said that your presentation was very good, but we could have done a better job if the models that you spoke of, if a soft handout is given to us before your presentation, then we could have read through the models and understood what you were saying in a better way. The models were good, but some of it went over my head. And besides that, the structured way you have presented the entire talk was excellent. I don't know how much it can be implemented in India or my perspective in Calcutta, but a lot can be done. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you. So first of all, it's my
My name
apology.
is Subir Rai. I just wanted to say that. Subir Rai. No, you
Yeah.
didn't get my name.
I
My
did.
name is Subir Rai.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, it's I do apologize for the inconvenience. This is completely my fault. Okay. Because what happened, I will tell you. I was away. I have returned yesterday afternoon, okay, from Malaysia after 22 hours flight. Changing three flights and all this thing. I would have given these slides to Professor Ghosh. Okay, so that's my fault. But what I will do that I will get you not only the slides but also the other related documents so that you will get time to assimilate and grasp all this thing. And then subsequently, well, while I would be visiting Kolkata, would try to really address it by going to FOSME if you are in FOSME, and the others also we would be meeting during icon swm conference as well as other activities. As I said that our project got extended for another 6 months, so there will be further meeting also. So we'll try to really be better organized in the due course. I fully appreciate that. Now coming to the points which you made in terms of its applications and other things. We need to work together and to make it happen, and we will do it. And that is why we are taking this type of initiative, and we will try to get further funding source to facilitate this type of activities, both one to one or one to many, like the way we are doing it. We will try to really get there. So, in summary, the all the documents should be available to you. I would suggest take your time to go through, and you will have my email individually. Please do connect me, and I would be more than happy to share my understanding, my knowledge. Okay, and you are always welcome to visit here. Well, as Venkat said, while the a week before, Indian colleagues came over here, we had a chance of meeting with researcher and industry practitioner one day, and we had visited two companies. One is waste to energy facilities, municipal solid waste to energy facilities, not far from where I belong to, Midlands, and a small and medium-sized companies. Also, we visited. So they have shown me how the green practices are being implemented. I think these are quite eye-opening for all of us, that how the activities have been really undertaken and environment has been given emphasis on. So there are other companies also, and the case studies are also available. I will get you all those sources. Tools should be also available to you if you take interest, and I think that is not end of the our discussion. So anything else? Any question?
Anybody want to say something or ask something? Thank you once again. Thank you, Professor, for your for sparing your valuable time. Even in fact, when I was there, I know that you've been very tightly occupied. So you were saying that you was traveling abroad. So in spite of your busy schedule, since you are committed or because of your willingness, thanks for sparing your time. Actually, in fact, it is very early morning for him. So it looks that by this time around 8 o'clock in the morning, he has reached his office. So he has taken this effort only for us. Once again, thank you on behalf of the participants, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Pleasure. It's really pleasure to work with you, and you have come forward, all of you, and you have taken your interest. That is why things are happening. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Keep doing good work. And sorry I couldn't really come over, but definitely I would be seeing you guys in November, December in Mumbai.
Yeah, sure. Prashanto, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So thanks for your deliberation, and I believe that you had number of interaction with him. And you know that they already, we discussed with them, and most of them have come out with some idea for their project work. Okay. Next 15 days after returning, they will go to the industries and they will carry out some project work. And I believe all of you have identified where you will be working. Yes or no? Yes. Everybody. And you have also talked to your coordinator at your institute, right? So who could not talk to the institute coordinator? Everybody. All right. And how many projects will be there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there will be 12 projects. And what I propose is all these 12 projects should come as a presentation in detail in our Mumbai workshop. Okay. And as we have already sponsored you guys to come here, your institute should sponsor you to come to Mumbai. But all the presentations will be made by your teacher and you, and also it will be presented by your SMEs and you. So in that way, from 29th November to 1st December, we must make a good move so that at least this 10 or 11 project should come as a presentation mode in Mumbai conference. And number 2, the motivation is there is an Icon Excellence Award for this going global group. I mean, you know that nearly 50 SMEs are working with us in this project, and 10 partners from India, 1 partner from Aston. I mean, Aston is a partner. So in our conference, there are a number of Icon Excellence Award. Icon Excellence Award for the co-processing, Icon Excellence Award for the environmental focus. And this year we have introduced the Icon Excellence Award for the going global project. Okay. So that is a very prestigious one. So you have to try it. And any help you need, you let us know. But most of the help will be given by the teachers who are involved in your going global project from your institute, and also the SMEs related to your institute, right? With this, Prashanta, thanks once again, and we break for the lunch. And of course, we will not feed Prashanta and not inviting Prashanta for lunch because you have it. Okay, thank you. Let us break for lunch.
Okay.
And,
Thank you.
please.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.
All right. Let us break for lunch. What is the time now?
1:55.
So 2:30 we will come back. And we will discuss about all the project detail. Each of us, me, Mr. Karika, Venkat, and Ashit, and also Kevan is there. So we will sit 1 to 1. and we will finalize the project. So whatever you have to work on that proposal, you can